The company's sending bills to podcast directories. The latest from Podnews.net with Squadcast. Record remotely in studio quality. We start with an exclusive today. A copyright enforcement company is sending demands for money to podcast directories for reproducing thumbnail images from RSS feeds. Instead of contacting the podcaster or podcast host, as the law allows, they're coming after podcast directories like ours, who rely on the open nature of RSS. And at stake, a whole lot of money. You can read our story that's 3 months in the making in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. On the day that Spotify announced 1,500 layoffs, Paul Vogel, Spotify's CFO, sold more than $9.3 million of Spotify shares, an SEC filing suggests. The stock price climbed 7.5% on the day following news of the layoffs. Vogel also sold $3.3 million in September. Podtrac released its rankers for November. Total global downloads for the top 20 publishers are down 15% month-on-month, due largely, they say, to modified download behavior by iOS 17. It measures participating publishers only. Adam Davidson, who launched Planet Money in 2008 and was founder and CEO of 3 Uncanny 4, writes about the rise and fall of podcasting. Podcasting has become mature and the economics have fundamentally shifted, he says, and he looks at the costs of making a big show. Red Circle has launched a new vetting feature allowing advertisers to send podcasters on the platform a questionnaire to discover which show is the right fit. And Business of People magazine notes a designer podcasting boom. Surprising, it says, for a profession that's heavily centered around visual aesthetics. In People News, John Donoghue, SVP of Sales for Libsyn's AdvertiseCast, has left the company. For the moment, he says on LinkedIn, "I've been given the gift of time, and I intend to use it wisely." He'd been with the company since 2018. And in podcast news, the Media Roundtable features Dan Granger in conversation with Steve Goldstein, looking back at 2023 and asking whether it's time to move past the RSS feed. And Doja Cat and Ice Spice are on the first edition of Close Friends Only with Instagram today. Expect crazy Instagram memes to content from creators they love, and they reveal a couple of juicy secrets, all for their close friends. It's produced by Sunny Side Up in collaboration with the Unwell Network. Trailers for selected shows are in our new Podcast Trailers podcast. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. And this podcast is sponsored by Squadcast. Record your podcast and videos remotely in studio quality with Squadcast. Then seamlessly send your file to Descript for post-production and social clipping. Get Descript and Squadcast for one price at squadcast.fm. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.